Hey, man. Welcome. I'm so fired up you're here. Thank you for taking time out of your busy life. For the next 30 minutes, I just really look forward to having a conversation with you about your life, your future, your impact, your influence, the difference that only you can make. Everything your hand touches, everything your eye looks at, everything your mouth speaks into makes all the difference in the world. Welcome to the G5 Men Call. If you're brand new, welcome to the locker room. And I also want to just give a special shout out to any ladies that maybe have jumped on the call just to make sure we're doing the right thing here. So we're so honored to have you. I got a few people here with me in celebration at our celebration location. And you can hear there are a bunch of rowdy ones, and I love that. And I hope that you are increasingly inviting people to come into your living room or your family room or your office and join you. I don't think we can do anything great in life alone. One person can make a difference, but in order to sustain it, you gotta have a team. And so I just encourage you to keep building your team. It's one of the most exciting, frustrating things on the planet, because a lot of times people are so busy and they don't really know what they're coming to. But this is gonna be a half hour of equipping and empowering. And tonight I'm gonna equip you, so I want you to be ready to take some notes. I would just like to ask you personally, if you could just maybe quiet where you are, get rid of the distractions, because the moment that distraction happens, there's a really great chance you're gonna miss what you needed to hear tonight on this call. So let's get going. I know your time is valuable. Let me ask you a question that you've been asked before, but I think it's fitting for me to ask you right now. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? What would you try to accomplish? What new dream would you dream? What new goal would you set? What new passion in your heart would you bring forward if you knew you couldn't fail? Where would you leave? What relationship would you end that maybe is not causing you to grow and be all that you were created to be? Maybe you're unequally yoked. Maybe you have the right heart in a wrong situation and in a wrong place. So I just want to ask you, if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you attempt? Now, you've been asked that question and you've thought about it. But most men live their lives full of quiet desperation. They're born early and they die early. And most of men in the world will spend between 21 and 70, 80, 90, 100 years old, and they will let somebody else make the decisions for their lives. I want to challenge you tonight to know this. You can design your life. Now, I'm a man that has faith, and I believe that God has a design, and I need to uncover it, and I need to discover it. But I want to ask you, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? I'm going to talk to you tonight about the fear of failure. The fear of failure. What would you walk away from? What would you walk to? What conversation would you have right now that you know you need to have, but you are afraid to have it? How would you challenge yourself in a way that right now you're not challenging yourself? What would you change if you didn't let fear dictate to your life? See, I believe this tonight, man, that every one of you that I'm talking to right now, wherever you are around the globe, you've got something on your mind. You've got a dream in your heart. There's something burning inside of you. You know something needs to change. You know in your life there's more in you than anybody around you knows that's in you. And you desperately want to find somebody that can reach inside of you and pull that more out. But a lot of us in our lives, we've just been beaten down because we've had words spoken over us, and we've had things said about us, and we've had people talk about us. And so now we're really worried about the approval of man. And I just want to say to all of you men, that are kind of growing in your faith, I don't think we'll ever be approved of by God as long as we keep seeking the approval of man. There should be one approval that you seek more than anything else. And I would challenge you, men, to believe this, that when you get that one approval, you'll get the approval of everybody else in your life that matters. Not everybody is going to shout your praises because you do the right thing at the right time for the right reason in the right way. And by the way, that's what a leader is. Somebody that does the right thing at the right time for the right reason in the right way. I want to challenge you to become that. So whenever you face a new challenge, you have got to start dealing with this fear that crawls up inside of your heart and inside of your mind, and it makes minnows out of giants. It takes people that have huge amounts of calling and inspiration and gift and talent. The graveyard is full of people who are gifted and talented. They've got more than anybody could ever imagine, but they listen to somebody. Come on, I want to challenge you for a second. Will you let me just crawl up in your grill in this locker room tonight and ask you right now, what is it? What is it right now that you keep putting on the back burner? What is it that you keep getting distracted from and it takes you out of the action? All great dreams have great sacrifice. All great dreams have challenges. We have got to learn how to use fear, leverage fear, and rise above fear. You can never let fear hold you back. So I just want you to know, as you step out, are you not only working on your dream, but how much time are you spending working on you? You will never overcome the fear of failure until you begin to work on you as much as you do on your job. You need to spend as much money on you and your personal growth and development as you are trying to buy your way into a next position at work. In your life right now, you've got to ask yourself the question, what kind of investment am I making in me? What investment am I making in my mind and in my heart, and time and talent and energy and association with the right people? I'm talking to you. I'm talking to the highest performing person on this call right now. You cannot be satisfied with the comfort zone that you've created. You've got to step out of that comfort zone and step into the grow zone, which I know is not comfortable, but it's where all the fruit is. I'm talking to some men right now. Don't get mad at me. My name is PT. I love you. I'm going to rattle your cage a little bit and tell you there's way more in you than you're delivering. There's more potential in you. I'm not saying you're bad. I'm not saying you're a mistake. I'm not saying you're a failure. I'm just telling you there's way more in you, and you know it, and we've got to step into it. So I can tell you this, most people don't live their dreams. Do you know why? Fear. Most people stay in the same place too long because of fear. It comes out in these words. Well, you just got to understand that's the way I am. I can't control my thoughts. I can't control my mouth. I can't control my mind. That is a lie. That is a lie. I have friends of mine that tell me all the time, well, I just couldn't help myself. Yes, we can. And so I encourage you to step into it. So when you look at your life, can I ask you a question? Can you see yourself tonight winning and winning big? And will you face and stare down the fear of failure? What is the cause of the fear of failure in our lives? Well, let me just give you a few observations, and then I'm going to give you some really real quick, man. Number one is this whole thing that causes us to fear failure. Number one is, truthfully, honestly, perfectionism. If I can't be the best at it, I'm not going to do it. If I can't start out on top, then I'm not going to start anywhere. I don't know if anybody's told you, if you start anything new, you're not going to be that great the first time. You're going to have to work, you're going to have to get better, and we've got to be willing to do what Malcolm Gladwell said, and that is we've got to be willing to put in the 10,000 hours, make the investment, and get the reward. But most of us don't want to do it. We want to immediately step in. So we don't try something new. We won't read a new book. We won't have a new conversation. We won't leave where we are. We'll stay in our little cocoon instead of moving out of that cocoon. So here's what I want to ask you right now. Will you give yourself permission to stop trying to be perfectionistic? Will you just say, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to not do it right, but I'm going to get great at it. Because everything I do, I'm going to get stronger and I'm going to get better. The second thing is comparison. The fear of failure is because we awesomely, most of the time, compare ourselves to everybody else. And if you want to take something that's special and make it worth nothing, just compare it. You don't like to be compared. Nobody around you likes to be compared. And yet some of you men on this call tonight, you were compared. Well, why don't you be like your little brother? Why don't you be like your big sister? Why don't you be like them? Why don't you be like them? Comparison, comparison. You will never bring the greatness out in anybody through comparison, complaining, criticizing, or critiquing. You will bring the greatness out in people when you begin to pour into them. We compare ourselves to the people that are around of us instead of focusing on what we want to become. The next one is past trauma. Every man I'm talking to on this call right now, I look into your eyes. Every one of you have been hurt by somebody. You've been hurt by a parent, you've been hurt by a sibling, you've been hurt by a friend, you've been hurt by a coworker, and sadly to say, a lot of us got church hurt. We went to church and we got hurt. We felt judged or measured. We all have trauma. We all have setbacks. And you might be afraid right now to put yourself out there because you're going, it's just going to happen to me again. Somebody's going to hurt me. Listen, my name is PT. I'm going to humbly, reverently, and boldly ask you, will you please stop thinking like that? Will you stop being a victim and will you start saying, no, listen, right now is going to be the best time in my life. And I'm going to take advantage of even the pain, the disappointment, and the rejection. Everything that's going on in your life right now is going to make you better if you leverage it. And I want you to listen to me right now. Because some of you are wasting your right now moment. You're wasting it complaining and comparing. And because you won't step out, then you think something's wrong with you. No, you got to get out of the boat. I want to challenge you tonight, right now, with recession, with the economy, with all the news that's going on, right now, I want you to write down on your page, right now is the best moment for you ever to be alive. If you've been hurt today, if you've been broken today, if you've had something taken from you today, if you've made the greatest mistake in your life today, right now, if you don't waste this moment, your greatness is coming out. So I just want to ask you, if you're going to keep blaming yourself for your past, that means you now have got to learn how to start accepting the greatness that's in you for the future. Belief systems are another one. Our values and beliefs are often ingrained to us from a very young age. Do you realize that your children by the age of 3 have already decided what their value system is going to be in their lives? This is heavy. That's why most of us don't understand how smart a 6-month-old baby is. We don't understand how smart an 8-month-old baby is. I love it when my friends have these new babies and I come up and I ask them a question and it's amazing to watch their eyes shift. Because they know, here's what I can tell you. Will you listen to me right now? You bring a uniqueness to this world that nobody else brings. Will you give yourself the permission to understand your uniqueness no matter what's been spoken over you? No matter what's been left out, no matter what's been looked over, no matter what's been said, or no matter what hasn't been said. The next one is just negative thoughts. It just causes the fear of failure. You will never have a positive life with a negative mind. You will never have positive relationships with a negative mind. You're not going to have it. If you don't think you're worth it, you will tolerate a mess. And I'm begging you, don't tolerate the mess. Start creating the future that you always wanted. If you believe the lies in your head, you'll never step into the truth. And a lie has to be confronted with truth. So when I tell you that you're more than enough, you've got what it takes, your greatest days are ahead of you, you're not too old, you're not too young, you haven't made such a devastation mistake in your life. Listen, the stories in the Bible are the greatest stories of the greatest comebacks ever. Right now, the greatest stories that you love and relate to, most men, you know what they are? They're of men who got knocked down, they got back up, and they dusted themselves off and moved on. Men, come on. Come on, I want you to buckle up, get your boots on, strap them in, and I want you to go to work, and I want you to write that word on a bathroom wall. Just go in there with a magic marker and write work. Yeah, PT told you to do that. It's a 4-letter dirty word that will change the world. Yeah. And right now, you got to work on you got to work on the world around you, and you got to work on the future that's ahead of you. And so the next one is trying to let your self-worth be connected to your net worth or your accomplishments. It will destroy you. It will take you out. There's nothing worse than thinking somebody thinks they're really special because they've got a lot of money. You're special because you were uniquely made and you were gifted with the ability and you went to work. You took the principles that you needed. There's nobody on this call that can be left out or looked over if you decide right now, not arrogantly, but full of humility, I will not be left behind. I'm gonna reach my destiny. So, how to overcome the fear of failure? I'm glad you asked. Are you ready? We gotta move really fast. I may not get through all these tonight, but we're gonna get through some of them, all right? Number one, recognize that fear is normal. Recognize it. Some of you all feel guilty because you have fear. Hey, if you're chasing new dreams, if right now you're doing something that's got you out of your comfort zone, you're gonna feel a little nervous about it. Can I get a hey? Hey, right now, just type it in there. Hey, I'm gonna be a little bit nervous. If you've set a new goal to do more than you've ever done before, if you've set a goal, man, so you single guys out there that I'm gonna ask her out on a date, you're gonna feel a little bit of fear, and some of you should. Because you ain't equipped to ask somebody out on a date. You don't even know how to ask them out on a date. I'm just telling you, some of you guys got married and now you're going, oh, what do I do? And now you're trying to read a marriage book in a month that you should have been reading 10 years ago. Hey, how many of you know you better start preparing now because the future belongs to the prepared? But you've got to realize in every new dream and every new vision, you're going to feel fear. Embrace it. Yeah. Make it go to work for you. It's a negative energy that drives a lot of people's lives. So you should feel a little bit nervous. Every time I speak, I feel a little bit nervous. And if I don't feel it, I'm probably going to stop talking because it means I don't care anymore. Hey, you tuned in tonight. You're giving me a half hour of your life. Right now, fear doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. Wow. Fear means you're attempting possibly to do something that's right. Matter of fact, I don't know a time in my life that I've ever done something right, that it was ever easy, and there wasn't two things that showed up at the same time. One is fear, and the other one is discouragement. They go hand in hand. So I just want to encourage you right now in your life to just ask yourself, am I allowing the fact that I feel fear to keep me from my future? What is it? You've got to identify it. You've got to become aware. Some of you need to have a conversation right now that you won't have. Well, I'm afraid what she'll say. Well, I'm afraid what he'll say. Some of you need to put boundaries into your life. So I can tell you, the first time I ever spoke, I was a hot mess. I couldn't get my mind to settle down. I was so concerned about what are they going to say? What are they going to think? What if no one comes? What if my talk doesn't land? What if I don't connect with my audience? See, some of you right now, you're starting new careers. And you're so scared about, well, what if I don't share the opportunity right? What if I don't do the presentation right? What happens if I don't connect right? Would you stop thinking about everything that could go wrong and start thinking about the positive impact you're going to have in somebody's life? You know why I'm excited about this call tonight? Because I know right now, a bunch of you, you're going to tomorrow wake up and go, doggone it, I'm going to feel the fear and do it anyway. Everything great in my life, I've had to go past the fear. But beyond the fear is a blessing that no one can even begin to understand. Fear is going to surface. It's going to come up. And you got to decide right now, will it stop you or will it motivate you and inspire you? Go ahead. So here's what I want to encourage you to do. On this one situation here, reframe your mind. Think new thoughts. The second thing is give yourself permission to be a first timer. Everybody starts somewhere. I want you to Google tonight. There's a scripture in the Bible. After you Google this scripture, I want you to put it on your bathroom mirror. Do not despise small beginnings. Wow. See, some of us are too good to do something small. But great big doors swing on little small hinges. You got to realize right now, fear will keep you from moving forward because you feel like I've got to be perfect. And if I'm not perfect, I won't do it. Do you know how many friends of mine won't go and even hang out with men because they're afraid they won't be accepted? You know how many of them won't go play a game because if I can't be the best, then I'm not going to go. I got to dominate or I can't participate. I got to be the one seen in the room. Give yourself permission to be brand new, to be the first time. And I want to encourage you right now and let you know, just so you know, warning label, you're not going to be that good. Now, you're going to think you're that good. You're going to be like, wow, watch this. And everybody's morning going, I think it's the first time he's ever done that. It's okay. It's okay. In your life, it's okay. Right now, some of you are launching new businesses. Some of you are launching new paths. Some of you are launching new moments in your life. We just celebrated 10 years of owning G5 Ranch and doing Tuesday night services. Yeah, it was big. That's right. Thank you for clapping. If you have any idea the day I signed the paperwork, the buyer's remorse I went through, which is another word for fear, I kind of woke up the next morning and said, what did I do? I was already too busy. But now watching the thousands who've been changed. Great dreams require the ability to have faith that's bigger than my fear. I want to challenge you to do this right now. A lot of us, are way too distracted by worrying about if I'm not perfect. The third thing is to decide right now that you're going to learn from failure. We've often said in our lives, sometimes I win, but every time I learn. Yeah. Every time I learn. Failure is one of the greatest teachers, and it will keep you humble. If you're not failing, I hate to tell you this, man, you're not doing anything new, and you're just doing the minimums. You got to get out there in the failure zone. So I want to encourage you. Michael Jordan, I loved watching him. In his last season with the Chicago Bulls, I admired about him was how he embraced how to learn from his failures. Jordan said, I've missed more than 9,000 shots. Listen to me, man. Some of you haven't even taken 9,000 shots. I missed more than 9,000 shots. I lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life. And that's why I succeed. Men, listen to me. You're going to fail. but you're going to build the most successful life you could ever imagine if you would just begin. So if you start with the mindset and see failure as a friend and not as an enemy. I will never forget, I had a friend of mine, and I was about 25, 26 years old, and I went to him. He was a mentor, and I said, well, you've got me really afraid that I'm going to fail around you. And he said, well, good. And I was like, well, I wasn't expecting that. I thought you'd go, oh, it's going to be all right. Just hang in there. It's going to get better. It's really okay. No. He said, no. He said, I don't want you ever to get comfortable with failure. I want you to get comfortable with success. You see, some of us are so afraid of winning. We're so afraid of success that we're actually sabotaging ourselves right now. We're telling ourselves, I'm too young, I'm too old. I'm too rich, I'm too poor. I just want to encourage you. The fourth thing is talk to somebody that you trust. Talk to somebody that you trust. Do you have a friend? Do you have a mentor? Do you have a pastor? Do you have a coach? Do you have a running buddy? Do you have a battle buddy that you can talk to? I would encourage you. The greatest athletes in the world have coaches. Why in the world do you and I believe I've got to know it all? I cannot know it all. So I want to encourage you. It could be a friend, it could be a pastor, it could be a dad, it could be your wife. But you need somebody that when you feel overwhelmed, that you can talk to. The fifth thing is remind yourself continually, what am I fighting for? Who am I fighting for? Some of us, you know why we don't fight? You know why we don't fight? Because you will never fight your hardest for yourself. You will fight more for the people that you love and the team you're on. So you need to ask yourselves in big, bold letters. I encourage you to write it on your bathroom mirror. Who am I fighting for? I'm fighting for my customer. I'm fighting for my team. I'm fighting for my family. And for me, I'm fighting that God's name would be glorified. And so in your life, you're going to be amazed how people are going to be blessed. Please listen to me. Going to be blessed by what you have to offer. The sixth thing is give yourself multiple options. If you ask any leader, the one thing I never want you to take away from me is my options. I want to be able to know if I hit this wall here, I can go hit this wall here. But somewhere, I'm going to find a breakthrough. But you can't take away my options. And some of us are so unflexible that if it doesn't work, then we don't want to do it. And I'm working with a lot of you on this call right now on this very thing, where we're teaching you new ways to do the things you want to do in a world that has changed and a mindset has completely changed. The seventh thing is ask, what if? What if? My wife would even come in and say, no, maybe you need to change that to even if. But right now you need to ask yourself, what if the worst thing happened that I'm afraid about? Can I handle it? Hey, you're alive. You got air in your lungs. You can go do this. And I just want to encourage you right now, once you know that you're not going to die from making a call, then make it. Amen. Just make it. Get out of the boat, walk on the waves, and watch what happens. Yeah. The next one, number 8, is recognize the cost of not trying. Man, I could spend an hour right here. I could spend an hour right here, man. Please start evaluating the cost of you sitting home and doing nothing versus getting out and expecting something to happen. I can tell you this, fear kills more dreams than failure ever will. Get out and recognize what is the cost. One of the things we do at G5 is we continually tell men right now, look, and women, if we don't do this, this will be the cost. For me in my life, if I don't do what I'm called to do, if I don't show up and do what I'm called to do, eternity is at stake for a lot of people. Yeah. See, a lot of us right now, we have no urgency in what we do. We're comfortable. And we go, well, it's okay, and I'll just meander. No, no, no. You better find out the cost. And I would tell you this, that your dream is at cost. And the life you really want to live, and the marriage you really want to have, and the health you really want to have is at risk. Number 9, learn to adjust on the fly. Be flexible. Just be flexible. Some of us are so locked down. I love you all. You can get mad at me right now. My name's PT. But some of you all run your life so rigid by your calendar that honestly, you don't even have space for a miracle. And I just want to encourage you, be consistent, be focused, but don't be so focused that you miss the moment where the biggest miracle of your life could happen. Jesus, most of the major miracles that happened in his life happened on his way to do a miracle. Build flexibility in your schedule. Build time to talk to a younger man. Build time to talk to a young boy that doesn't have a father. Build time in your life to take a walk with your wife and watch a sunset and a sunrise. Build time in your life to sit around with your team and drink a cup of coffee and dream big dreams. I just want to encourage you. Learn how to be adaptable. It's not always going to go as planned. It's not always going to go perfect. And in your life, if you keep trying to avoid challenges, you're going to avoid a challenge, but you're also going to avoid success. And so I just encourage you to get on it. The 10th thing, and I close, man, thank you for giving me a couple extra minutes with me. Do it scared. Do it scared. Do it scared. When I was about 8 years old, I went to the swimming pool, and all my buddies talked me into going up on the high dive. And how many of you know when you get on top of the high dive, it looks way higher on top of the high dive than it does on the ground looking up at it? And I remember I got up there and I had such encouraging friends that once I hesitated, they started making comments. Your mother, my mom's pride was on the line. How many of you right now, you're on the high dive, but you won't jump because you're allowing fear of failure? I want to tell you, I jumped, but the fear never left me. I jumped in it, but I defeated it. And then I went back up. It's kind of like the first time you get on a bicycle and ride. Some of you, it's been so long you can't remember. But when you first ride, you're like, right? And then all of a sudden you're riding by and you're going, look, Mom, no hands. Life is that way. Men, here's what I can tell you. Great destiny awaits you. Great dreams are waiting for you. Great solutions are waiting for you. Your greatest day, your greatest week, your greatest month, your greatest year is right now. But you got to step into it. Go ahead and do it scared. You know that conversation you need to have? You know maybe that relationship that you need to move away from? You know that place that maybe you shouldn't be? You know that moment in your life where you know it's not the best for you? But it's amazing how comfortable we can get in dysfunction. Do not tolerate for 1 second allowing fear to keep you from stepping into your destiny. You know that business you want to start? You know that person you want to call and say, I need you to forgive me? You know those tough conversations that you need to have? I want to encourage you right now. Step out. I just want to tell you this in closing, man. On the other side of fear, there's something extraordinary waiting for you. And I want to encourage you, go get it. You got what it takes. You're more than enough. Your dream is worth it. We respect you. We value you. Welcome to the locker room. Fill your heart with passion. Fill your mind with focus. And let's go get what we're supposed to be getting to make a difference in this world. Charge. I love you, man. Rock and roll. Boom.